Have you ever had those days, those days where you're just crushing it, where you're on top of the world, where everything flows, where you feel like you can take on the world and you get all your tasks done? And then there's those days that are not that. The days where everything feels like you're walking through a quagmire, where it doesn't go in the right order, where you're unreasonably tired for no specific reason. You're not unwell, you slept well the night before, and yet it just feels like there's no fuel in the tank. Well, I have those days too. Not as many as I used to, though. And I want to tell you that this is not a unique you problem. You are not lazy. You're not inconsistent. All that's happened is you are out of rhythm with your brain chemicals. And in this video, I'm going to share with you neuroscience-backed strategies that I personally use to manage my energy and productivity on a daily basis, and that I share with the women that I coach to help them align their brain chemistry so that they are working in their productivity and in their flow instead of against it. If you're new here, I'm Tania Adams. I'm a neuroscience-based coach with over 17 years of helping women build businesses without burning out. In the beginning, when I had clients who would come and say to me, I want more time in the day, I used to think that this was a time issue. Over the years, I've learned that it's not about time. It's actually about energy. And once I had figured out how to work with my energy and made the shift, I got a lot more done in a lot less time, and I was able to create that sense of abundance, freedom, and joy that I'd set out to create in my business in the first place. If that sounds like you and what you've been craving, then hit subscribe and like this video, and let me know in the comments what part of your day drains you the most. I bet you know, because it's that part of the day where maybe you have the sneaky little thought like, I could just check out today, or I could go and have a quick little nap. That's the part of the day. So pop it in the comments. Let us know, when is your most draining time of the day? This is a really personal story for me, because my background is that although I studied law, I never really practiced in law. I actually had a corporate career, and I was in corporate for 8 years. And the reason that I left actually was that there was a multitude of reasons, but I found myself, first off, being very successful, but secondly, on the verge of burning out. And I knew that I had to make a radical change, which is why, of course, as we do, we think to ourselves, I've got to work for myself. And so I did. I believed that working for myself and becoming a coach and owning my own time would take away the sense of being burnt out and running all the time and being on the go. Only to discover that in under 3 years of leaving my corporate career, I was back in the same place. In fact, 1 year, it took me a full 6 weeks at the end of a year to gather myself again, to come back to work. Instead of restarting in mid-January, I could only restart in mid-February. And I was thoroughly burned out. Despite the fact that I had believed that getting out of corporate would have solved my problems and working for myself was the way forward, I recognized that I was doing something that was causing me to run on this treadmill against my own energy all the time. And what changed was when I started to understand the biorhythms and what was happening in my brain and in my world. That once that changed, everything else changed for me. And that's what I want to gift you with today. I want to share with you the insights of why time management is not enough. Time management is in fact a misnomer. I often say if I was able to manage time and slow down the rotation of the planets, I would be in a very different position right now. Time management in and of itself is not, we cannot manage time. We can manage lots of things. We can manage our boundaries, we can manage our systems, and we can manage how and when we use our energy. Your brain is not designed for constant output. When I hit that second verge of burnout, I was literally coaching 5 to 6 hours a day, non-stop at certain intervals. And my brain was literally on all of the time. Our brains naturally cycle through 90 to 120 minute cycles of focus and rest, focus and rest, focus and rest. And when you override those cycles, that's when burnout happens. And that's why productivity feels inconsistent. It's kind of like running your car without any fuel, or overrunning your car. It's not you at all. It is simply that there isn't enough fuel in the tank. So drop a yes in the comments if this is hitting home so far. If you have found yourself as an entrepreneur or even in your career constantly being on throughout the day. There doesn't seem to be a break, that you don't even have time to have a cup of tea, or just even sit and just gather your thoughts. If that's you, then pop a yes in the comments, because I can tell you that based on the amount of people that I've worked with, that this is common across everybody that I know. And I'm going to give you now the tool. And there is a tool that you can use and implement, even if you are in a job where your day is largely dictated to you. So this is applicable to you if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you work in a workplace environment. And it's the energy rhythm tool. And this is the essence of the tool is to help you to recognize exactly what's going on in your brain and when, and then to allocate your tasks according to that. So there's 3 primary times in the day where your brain is negotiating neurochemicals in order to give you energy or rest. In the morning, as we wake up, actually, our brains are flooded with cortisol, and that cortisol is, we hear a lot of bad stuff about cortisol, but cortisol is actually helpful because it gets us going. So cortisol naturally rises in your bloodstream, and that's what gets you out of bed. And so in the morning, your brain is most suited to heavy analytical work, very deep focused work. If you've got to make good decisions and you've got to be on mentally, the morning is the time to schedule that. Now, what I find a lot of people do is they go to work and they, even myself, or if you work from home, it can be really easy to fall into this trap. We ease into the morning and do kind of like the stuff that we want to do. Even we may allow ourselves to get distracted. And so the key here is to allocate time in your diary for the high cortisol time when your brain is actually at its peak. And anything that needs to get done in your business must get done in the morning. Things like reaching out to customers, things that you need emotional and practical energy for, reaching out to your clients, sending messages, making phone calls. Do this in the morning, because this is where you need your own motivation to do the things that you need for your business. Naturally, you're going to get a midday dip if the cortisol is going to slow down in the middle of the day, and this is great for doing your admin. So catch up on those emails middle of the day, take a break, do some lighter work, reply to messages, catch up on the messages that you missed during the day, and use this as a natural reset. If you do work from home and you don't have a fixed set of hours, this is a good time for you to take a break, to take a rest, to go sit in the garden, give yourself some natural light. Walk outside if you can, even if you just walk in your garden, just so that you can literally honor the rest that your brain is needing. What's happening in the space is that it's gathering more energy for you to work in the afternoon. And remember, if you follow this channel, you'll know that I say all the time, the brain is the most energy hungry organ in your whole entire body. And so then what about afternoon? Have you ever noticed that after that midday slump, that suddenly, like, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock, you're ready to go again, but if you're in a job, 5 o'clock is on the way out, and but you've suddenly got this energy. So capture that energy. What's happening there in your brain is that you get a dopamine rebound. And this is really good for people who are doing creative work, focus work, people-focused work. So I have coaching clients. Some of my coaching appointments are scheduled at that time of the day, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Because I know that if I'm working with people in the afternoon, then I am going to have that kind of energy in the afternoon. Whereas in the morning, I need to do my business development activities, because that's how that's where my rhythm is. Now, everybody's rhythm, people's rhythm may be slightly different, though these are the natural neurochemicals that the body is going to release. After that mid-afternoon rebound of dopamine, the body starts to prepare itself based on the natural light, and ultimately, as we work towards the evening, we start to get all the chemicals that start to tell our brain to start switching off and shutting down. Ultimately, by about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, your brain starts to generate melatonin, which is in its natural cycle. So to help you with this, I've created a downloadable energy rhythm planner so that you can start to make notes and understand your own rhythms. And it's the exact tool that I use to manage my day and my brain, and it's totally free. And in my diary, I have things blocked according to the energy cycles that I have. And diary blocking, to be fair, is a very popular concept on lots of time management courses. Though if you're diary blocking the wrong things in the wrong energy space in your brain, all that's going to happen is you're just not going to do them, and then you're going to hate your own diary is going to become a persecution tool for you, because you're going to be skipping those activities or not getting them done properly. So it's important to first understand, particularly when you've got the luxury as an entrepreneur of deciding when you work and what you do in your days and how you structure your days. So use this tool to learn when to schedule focused tasks versus creative work, how to support your energy dips, and what to change when you feel distracted or scattered or stuck. So you can download it use the link in the description down below. And remember that it's small shifts in energy are what's going to create the big results. We're not asking you to do a major overhaul of anything, just small little steps in the right direction. So if you need to pause the video to download it, do that now. And while you're at it, give the thumbs up to the video, pop a comment in to let us know that you have downloaded the video. Now here's a bonus for you. And this is something that can get missed, particularly when we're busy. And if you are anything like me, maybe you also forget this stuff when you get into flow. And this is, it's something that can compound. If you've had 3 or 4 days of really working or really digging deep, or being in flow zone and being in deep work for a couple of days in a row, you might find at the end of the 3rd day that you are feeling more fatigued than you would have expected to. And the reason for this is what I'm going to share with you in this little bonus tip, is that there are ways that we can help our bodies and our brains. There was a time in history where our brains were regarded as something and our bodies were regarded as something else. Of course, neuroscience now, through the studies of neuroscience, we know that the brain and the body are the one thing, that constantly through the gut-brain axis, the brain and the body are talking to one another, and that nothing in the body works without input from the brain and from the neurochemicals. So we've got to use the body to fuel the brain so that the brain is able to do what it needs to do. And we've got to help the brain and the body work in sync all the time. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing is to keep hydrated in the morning. Wake up, have a glass of water. Before you even have your coffee, have a glass of water. Keep the brain nice and hydrated. The brain needs liquid in order to fuel and support the cortisol production early in the morning. And then make your first meal a protein meal. If you do timed window eating, which I do, then obviously you're only going to eat later on in the morning. If you're eating late in the morning, if that's your timing window, give the first meal that you eat, make sure that it's got enough protein in it. At least 20 grams of protein in that meal to fuel the brain, okay, to fuel the neurochemicals. And then mid-afternoon, you're going to want to also fuel the brain. So right there when the dopamine starts to rebound, we want to give the brain some fuel so that we can capture that dopamine and actually engage the brain. So there are a number of brain-friendly snacks. Nuts, if you're not allergic to nuts, are a good one. Anything that's protein-based is a good one. Maybe a bowl of Greek yogurt also with a little bit of protein powder in it. All of these are great. I take nootropic supplements, natural nootropic supplements. So I take lion's mane, for example, which supports my cognitive health. And I take ashwagandha that just helps me to manage the stress hormones throughout the day. So it helps my body to process cortisol and adrenaline throughout the day and gives me the right neurochemicals at the right time of the day. I also prioritize sleep. And guys, this is a key one. In your energy management, one of the easiest and most effective hacks is to wake up at the same time every morning and go to bed at the same time every night. Within an hour difference, morning and evening. What you then do is your brain then has a trusted and predictable sleeping space, and many people, particularly entrepreneurs, are eroding their own success and progress by not getting enough sleep. When we've got projects that we're working on into late in the night, the brain does its cleansing and its healing while we're sleeping. Obviously, because it has to be always on while we are awake. And so prioritizing sleep is really important. And again, I take natural sleep support supplements and nootropics, both to help me manage that sleep cycle. So I take a magnesium and electrolyte supplement in the evening, and then in the mornings I take a vitamin B, and it's got some other very cool ingredients in it, L-theanine, to help me focus in the morning. So I'm using natural supplements to work with my ultradian and circadian rhythms so that I have a consistent energy flow throughout the day. Avoid those sugar crashes so that you are not having sugar crashes throughout the day, and keep your energy. So manage your eating as well. Stay hydrated, manage your eating, and then take some nootropic supplements. So if any of this resonated with you, I would love you to like the channel, subscribe for more. I do talks like this every single week. So subscribe, hit your notifications, put them on so that you never miss one of my videos. They come out every Monday. And then I have a newsletter that comes out on Thursday with similar topics, so you'll find the subscription link in the newsletter. And then if you want to do more of this, I recently launched a new community called the Freedom Collective, and inside the Freedom Collective, this is where I help women entrepreneurs to create business that give them that abundance, freedom, and joy that are my key values for my business. And we have 3 pillars that we work on. One is neuroscience-based principles, the other is skills, strategy, and systems, and it's all supported by a really empowering community. We're starting a new challenge on the 1st of July. It's a 90-day challenge about scaling what's working, and we'd love to have you on board. For people who join, the Freedom Collective is always open, by the way. If you come on board with us for the next challenge before the 30th of June, there's a heap of bonuses available to people joining before the 30th of June, but you can literally join anytime. And remember, your brain wants to help you. What it's waiting for and what it's looking for is you to tell it how to do that right. And so my job here as your neuroscience coach is to help you help your brain to get you the success that you have worked for, that you deserve, and that you desire. Have a happy day, and we'll see you next time.